Welcome to my YouTube channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Welcome back to our RLA review series practice quiz, and this is now part 7 of our professional practice quiz. So instructions before proceeding with the quiz, it is best to get a piece of paper muna, cut lengthwise, and then write down numbers 1 to 30 so that when you are ready, you can now start with the quiz, and for every question, write down the corresponding letter of your best choice or answer from the multiple choice. And you will be given 10 seconds to finalize your answer. At the end of the quiz, count the total number of your correct answers and check your score rating. So if you are now ready, good luck. So number 1, an architect drew up plans for a family. The owners went abroad. After a year, they returned and instructed the architect to help them find a new lot. The task would require the architect's personal time. What stage in the architect's services will the architect perform? A. Pre-design services. B. Regular design services. C. Comprehensive architectural services. And D. Specialized architectural services. Bakit allied ito? Ay, nako. So number 1, an architect drew up plans for a family. The owners went abroad. After a year, they returned and instructed the architect to help them find a new lot. The task would require the architect's personal time. What stage in the architect's services will the architect perform? A. Pre-design services. B. Regular design services. C. Comprehensive architectural services. And D. Specialized architectural services. And our correct answer is letter A. Pre-design services. So finding a new lot is under site selection and analysis under SPP document 201, pre-design services. And this entails the formulation of site criteria, assistance to the client in site evaluation, as well as analysis of the site to determine the most appropriate sites or sites for a proposed project or building program. So same situation, number 2. What will be the ideal method of compensation that the architect should use if he is to find a new site for the project? A. Percentage of construction cost. B. Per diem plus reimbursable expenses. C. MDPE, and D. Lump sum inclusive of architect's fee. And our correct answer is the MDPE, or the multiple of direct personnel expense. So this one under pre-design services, the method of compensation, MDPE, is the most preferred for pre-design services. So this cost-based method of compensation is applicable only to non-creative work, such as accounting, secretarial, research, data gathering, preparation of reports, and the like. This method of compensation is based on technical hours spent and does not account for creative work, since the value of creative design cannot be measured by the length of time the designer has spent on his work. The computation is made by adding all costs of technical services, man-hours times rate, and then multiplying it by a multiplier to cover overhead and profit, wherein the multiplier ranges from 1.5 to 2.5 depending on the office setup, overhead, and experience of the architect, and the complexity of the project. So number 3, same situation. What can the architect suggest to the owners to minimize spending? A. Buy a new house. B. Buy a new lot. C. Buy existing house and lot, then renovate. And D. Buy existing house. And our correct answer is letter C, buy existing house and lot, then renovate. So the owners already need a new site. Buying a new lot, option B, would still require design fees and new construction costs. Building new, whether in a new lot or by buying a new house, involves higher upfront costs, land acquisition, permits, utilities, and full construction. If the existing house is structurally sound, renovating and adapting it to the owner's needs usually costs less than a full rebuild. It saves on foundation, framing, roofing, and utility infrastructure costs. The architect is asked to help find a new lot, but since that involves additional time and cost, suggesting a ready property, that is house and lot, that only needs renovation is a reasonable compromise to minimize spending and effort. While renovation can be more expensive per square meter, in this context, it minimizes overall expenditure because it avoids both buying land plus building entirely new. So number 4, same situation. How much is the architect compensated after he completed all plans and documents for construction? A. 65% of professional fee. B. 75% of PF. C. 90% of PF. And D. 80% of PF. And our correct answer is letter C, 90% of PF. So as per the breakdown of the payment, upon the completion of the contract document services, the architect must have been received already 90%. The total payments now made to the architect should be already totaling 90% of the professional fee. Number 5. An architect who had been working in Singapore for 15 years decided, together with his family, to renounce his Philippine citizenship and acquire Singaporean citizenship. Since Singapore does not allow dual citizenship, he ceased to be a Filipino citizen. Upon returning to the Philippines, he was commissioned by a former classmate, now a property developer, to design a subdivision project. However, when he submitted the construction drawings, the Office of the Building Official, or OBO, denied the building permit application. So what went wrong? A. The architect is already a Singaporean and not allowed to practice in the Philippines. B. The architect should have a permit to practice from PRBoA, hence that he is a previous Filipino RLA. C. The architect to sign and seal the drawings. D. Error found in the drawings. And our correct answer is letter A. The architect is already a Singaporean and not allowed to practice in the Philippines. So under RA 9266, only a Filipino citizen who is a registered and licensed architect may practice architecture in the Philippines. So since the architect renounced his Philippine citizenship and became a Singaporean, he automatically lost his privilege to practice as a Filipino architect. So even though he was previously an RLA, foreign architects, including former Filipinos, can only practice in the Philippines if they obtain a temporary special permit from the PRC and PRBoA in accordance with Section 38 of RA 9266. So therefore, the OBO was correct in disapproving the building permit because the architect was no longer authorized to sign and seal architectural documents in the Philippines. So number 6, same situation. Would the Filipino architect be able to legally practice in Singapore? A. Yes, because he is an internationally recognized RLA. B. Yes, because he is qualified. No. Letter C. No, because Philippine licensure are not recognized in Singapore. And D. None of the above. And our correct answer is letter C, no, because Philippine licensure are not recognized in Singapore. So each country has its own professional regulatory laws governing the practice of architecture. A professional registration and license issued by the PRC is valid only within the Philippines and is not automatically recognized abroad, including Singapore. To legally practice in Singapore, the architect must register with the Board of Architects, Singapore, and meet their qualification, experience, and examination requirements. Hence, even if the architect is skilled and qualified, his Philippine license has no legal effect in Singapore unless he satisfies the local registration requirements there. Number 7. So same situation. If the Filipino RLA would not be able to legally practice in Singapore, what must he do? A. Study Master of Architecture at accredited university in Singapore. B. Get recognition for APEC architects. C. Study Master of Architecture at accredited university in Philippines. And D. All of the above. And our correct answer is letter B, get recognition for APEC architects. To legally practice in Singapore or other APEC member economies, a Filipino architect must first apply for recognition as an APEC architect, take note, while still a Filipino citizen and RLA under the PRC and PRBoA. So once recognized as an APEC architect Philippines, he can then seek registration or practice rights in another APEC economy such as Singapore under the Mutual Recognition Framework. However, if he renounces his Philippine citizenship before obtaining APEC recognition, he loses his eligibility to apply through the Philippine Register and cannot use that pathway anymore. Studying for a master's degree, options A and C, does not grant practice rights. It only enhances academic credentials. So, ang mangyayari kung naging Singaporean citizen na siya, at hindi na pwede mag-apply as an APEC architect sa Pilipinas, then the only option left is to study for a master's degree, and then after makuha na niya ang necessary requirements to take the local examination or licensing requirements ng Singapore, then he can apply to be a licensed architect in Singapore. So, yun na matitirang option na lang niya. So, number 8. After passing the architecture licensure examination, you and your classmates decided to set up an architectural practice in your hometown. What is the first thing you should do? A. Hire an accountant. B. Go to SEC and register your company. C. Go to DTI and get business name. D. Set goal and objectives. And our correct answer is letter B. Go to SEC and register your company. So under RA 9266, a group of architects forming a practice together must register their firm as a partnership or corporation with the Securities Exchange Commission or SEC. DTI registration applies only to sole proprietorships. So after SEC registration, the firm can proceed to secure its PRC Certificate of Registration, PIR, and local business permits. Number 9. As a practicing architect, what would you think is the purpose of hiring an accountant? A. To prepare SALN. B. For financial stability. C. To stabilize your practice. And D. To compute billing. And our correct answer is letter B, for financial stability. So an accountant helps ensure the financial stability of an architectural practice by managing finances, preparing financial statements, monitoring cash flow, and ensuring tax compliance. The accountant's role goes beyond simply computing billings. They help the firm maintain profitability, meet obligations, and plan for growth. Preparing a SAL-N statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth is for public officials only, not private practitioners. Number 10. 20 years after passing the board exam, you have worked across Australia and Asia. With this experience, a client in Malaysia commissions you to design his dream house. Since you are not a registered architect in Malaysia, what should you do to legally accept and undertake the project in that country? A. Take a licensure exam in Malaysia. B. Apply for ASEAN architect. C. Study a master's in Malaysia. And D. Marry a Malaysian architect. And our correct answer is B. Apply for ASEAN Art. So among the choices, B is the best choice. So the ASEAN Architect AA Registry allows qualified architects from ASEAN member countries to practice architecture in other ASEAN nations, including Malaysia, under the ASEAN Mutual Recognition Arrangement or MRA. Once recognized as an ASEAN architect by the PRC PRBoA, the architect can apply for temporary or limited registration in another ASEAN country. You will then be allowed to practice architecture in collaboration with a locally registered architect of that host country. So, kailangan pa rin meron kang maka-collaborate na local Malaysian architect. So, 11. What does reciprocity means in cross-border practice of architecture? A. Get projects without licensure exam. B. Set up office overseas with reciprocity. C. Practice and collaborate with local architect. And D. Practice with low fee. And our correct answer is letter C. Practice and collaborate with local architect. So in the cross-border practice of architecture, reciprocity means that two countries mutually recognize the qualifications and professional credentials of each other's registered architects. This allows an architect from one country to practice temporarily or in collaboration with architects in the other country without taking another licensure exam, but still subject to local laws and regulations. Is the principle behind the ASEAN Mutual Recognition Arrangement or MRA on architectural services, which promotes regional mobility of architects while ensuring local accountability through partnerships with host country professionals. Number 12. Before submitting sketches to a client, what must the architect first do? A. Sign a service agreement. B. Submit a billing statement. C. Discuss about image board for presentation. And D. Befriend the client first. And our correct answer is letter A. Sign a service agreement. So under the Code of Ethics for relations with colleagues and subordinates, the architect shall not render professional services without a professional service agreement. So she shall neither offer nor provide preliminary sketches or services on a conditional basis prior to definite agreement with the client for the commission of the project. Kailangan talaga before ka magsasubmit ng mga drawings, kailangan muna merong service agreement. So number 13, what would you wear if you are going for work as an apprentice? A. Formal. B. Business attire. C. Filipiniana. And D. Relaxed and comfortable. And our correct answer is letter B, business attire. So as an architectural apprentice, you are entering a professional work environment where appearance reflects discipline and respect for the profession. Business attire, such as a collared shirt or slacks or closed shoes for men, blouse, skirt, or slacks for women, projects professionalism and is appropriate for office work, meetings, and client interactions. Relaxed and comfortable clothing, choice D, may be acceptable in construction sites, but not in the office setting of an architectural firm. 14. After passing the board exam, many new architects feel proud and sometimes become boastful. What is the best way to start your career as a registered and licensed architect or RLA? A. Accept your current salary from your mentor and continue gaining valuable experience. B. Accept only a higher salary because you are already an RLA. C. Set up your own firm immediately. And letter D. Resign from your mentor right away because he cannot increase your salary. And our correct answer is letter A. Accept your current salary from your mentor and continue gaining valuable experience. So the best way to begin your professional career is to gain practical experience and build your competence under the guidance of experienced architects. Early in your career, learning and mentorship are more valuable than salary alone. Setting up your own firm, choice C, or resigning immediately, choice D, without enough experience can lead to professional and ethical issues. Demanding a higher salary right away, choice B, shows lack of maturity and professional humility. Number 15. Architect De La Cruz was commissioned by his friend as the architect for a townhouse project. He was specifically asked to prepare feasibility studies and marketing posters for the project. What type of services did Architect De La Cruz render for the project? A. Regular design services. B. Construction services. C. Pre-design services. And D. Post-construction services. And our correct answer is letter C, pre-design services. So this is SPP document 201 on pre-design services, includes promotional services. And here, projects may require promotional activities in order to develop and generate financial support and acceptance from governing agencies or from the general public. In such cases, the architect can act as the agent of the owner by producing and coordinating the additional activities necessary to complete the services. In all such activities, the architect must maintain his professional status as the representative of the owner. So number 16, same situation. What type of compensation should Architect De La Cruz receive? A. Multiple of direct personnel expense. B. Professional fee plus reimbursable expenses. C. Professional fee, expensive reimbursable. And D. Percentage of construction cost. And our correct answer is letter A, multiple of direct personnel expense. So under SPP document 201, pre-design services, the method of compensation for pre-design services, the most recommended is using the multiple of direct personnel expense. So 17, same situation. When could Architect De La Cruz get his fee? A. Upon signing of the contract. B. Before he starts with the project. C. After submitting all his works. And D. After the project is done. And our correct answer is letter C, after submitting all his works. So prior to the start of any pre-designed services, a professional service agreement or contract between the owner or client and architect is necessary. So the architect should request for a 5% acceptance fee based on the agreed professional fee or PF upon signing of the agreement. So after that, the client shall make progress payments upon request of the architect within 7 calendar days from the submission of the statement of the account. Number 18. You have a large shopping mall project under SM. Since the project is huge and complex, they decided to hire a foreign architect who specializes in retail planning and development. What would be the scope of work of the said foreign architect? A. Schematic design and design development. B. Schematic design. C. Schematic design, design development, and construction documentation. And D. Refer to contract. And our correct answer is letter B, schematic design. So in projects involving a foreign architect, the foreign architect is usually brought in for specialized services such as the conceptual design or schematic design for retail or mall project. The local counterpart architect, also called the architect of record or the AOR, is responsible for design development and contract documents, that is construction documents. This is because only a local RLA, registered and licensed architect, can legally sign and seal documents and practice architecture in the Philippines. Number 19, same situation. What would be the legal role of the said foreign architect under RA 9266? A. Retail architect. B. Consulting architect. C. Design consultant. And D. Architect of record. And our correct answer is a consulting architect or a foreign consulting architect. So a consulting architect is defined as an architect who provides specialized expertise for a project but does not assume full legal responsibility for the construction or for signing and sealing documents. A foreign architect or foreign consultant can provide conceptual design for retail or mall planning. The definition of foreign consultant or FC or foreign architect refers to an individual, not a citizen of the Philippines, who satisfies the definition of a professional consulting architect as hereafter provided, has acquired a permit to work or do business in the Philippines in accordance with the rules and regulations of the Commission guidelines for the registration of foreign professionals, has acquired the temporary special permit or TSP to engage in the practice of any branch of architecture for any project on Philippine soil, in full accordance with pertinent board resolutions implementing sections 37 and 38 of RA number 9266. So this is the scope of professional architectural consulting services or PACS. This is SPP document 209. The scope of PACS shall be defined and determined in accordance with the Charter, bylaws, policies, rules, and regulations of the Commission and the Board through the PRBoA, to which a professional consulting architect belongs as a member in good standing. It includes but shall not be limited to the following: program, project conceptualization and development, rendering of technical advice, consultation or counseling, and preparation of schematic, concept level through preliminary plans, drawings, designs, and technical specifications. This is for a Filipino consulting architect. So number 20, same situation. What would be the role of the Filipino architect under RA 9266? A. Retail architect. B. Consulting architect. C. Design architect in collaboration with expert consultant. And D. Architect of record. And our correct answer is letter D, architect of record. So under RA 9266, a Filipino architect must act as the architect of record or AOR whenever architectural work is being done in the Philippines. Even if a foreign architect is commissioned by the owner for retail design or specialized services, they cannot legally sign and seal drawings or submit documents for permits in the Philippines. The foreign architect must have a local counterpart or Filipino architect who will be the AOR and assumes full legal responsibility for design development and construction documents, signing and sealing of architectural drawings as well. So number 21, same situation. What would be the scope of the Filipino architect? A. Schematic design and design development. B. Schematic design. C. Construction documentation and quality assurance. And D. Refer to contract. And our correct answer is construction documentation and quality assurance. Pero dapat yung design development kasama kasi design development phase, contract document phase, and construction phase ay yun ang magiging role ng Filipino architect. Okay? So in projects where a foreign architect is commissioned for specialized design, that is retail planning, schematic design, the Filipino architect of record or AOR is responsible for construction documentation. So ito yung design development at saka yung contract document phase, no? Preparing the detailed working drawings, specifications, and technical documents suitable for permit approval and construction. And on the construction phase, quality assurance and construction supervision, ensuring that the project is built according to plans, specifications, and legal requirements. So number 22, same situation. As far as the civil liability of the project is concerned, who is liable when the building collapses due to faulty and construction? A. Architect. B. Architect in charge of construction. C. Consulting architect. And D. Architect of record. And our correct answer is letter B, the architect in charge of construction. So, the architect in charge of construction means an architect registered and licensed under RA number 9266 who is directly and professionally responsible and liable for the construction supervision of the project. So, this is the liability under the civil code, the contractor as well as the professional in charge of construction or the architect in charge of construction. So number 23, same situation. On this project, who is the professional that is academically qualified and with exceptional or recognized expertise or specialization in any branch of architecture? A. Architect of record. B. Foreign architect as consultant. C. Architect in charge. And D. Local architect. And our correct answer is letter B, the foreign architect as the consultant. So, a consulting architect means the architect registered and licensed or permitted to practice under RA number 9266 who is professionally and academically qualified and with exceptional or recognized expertise or specialization in any branch of architecture. So, the foreign architect as the consulting architect. No? A foreign consultant refers to an individual, not a citizen of the Philippines, who satisfies the definition of a professional consulting architect. 24. After the hospital project construction, who is best for a client to hire in building maintenance? A. Architect specialized in machinery. B. Architect with track record in building and equipment maintenance. C. Building administrator with experience in maintenance. And D. None of the above. And our correct answer is letter C, building administrator with experience in maintenance. So under SPP Document 205, Post-Construction Services, under Building and Facilities Administration, we have building maintenance, is wherein the architect shall see to it that the building and all the parts thereof, structure, plumbing, electrical, partitions, finishes, etc., are all in good condition, including monitoring maintenance and upkeep services, cleanliness of corridors, lobby, stairs, and other common areas, exits, parking areas, and garbage collection. 25. A foreign citizen, whether he studied in the Philippines or not, who wishes to take the licensure examination for architects through reciprocity, must initiate the establishment of reciprocity between his country or state and the Philippines by submitting a letter or any document signed and sealed by the appropriate official of his country or state requesting such reciprocity. Which of the following is not true? A. Approval will be from CHED and PRC. B. Foreign citizen need to be a registered architect in their country. C. Satisfy all prerequisites. And D. Submit all relevant documents. And our correct answer is letter B. Foreign citizen need to be a registered architect in their country. So that is not true. So according to RA 9266, a foreign citizen wishing to take the Philippine architecture licensure examination through reciprocity does not necessarily have to be a registered architect in their home country. The primary requirements under Section 27 of RA 9266, that is reciprocity requirements, are number 1, educational equivalency. So CHED evaluates whether the applicant's architectural education is substantially equivalent to a Philippine BS architecture degree. Number 2, reciprocity request. The foreign government must submit a formal request or document indicating reciprocal recognition of Filipino architects in that country. And number 3, satisfying other prerequisites set by the Board of Architecture. 26. Any person who shall practice or offer to practice architecture in the Philippines without being registered or licensed and who are not holders of temporary or special permits in accordance with the provisions of RA number 9266 shall be guilty of misdemeanor and charged in court by the Commission and shall upon conviction be sentenced to a fine of not less than blank. A. 100,000 pesos but not more than 5 million pesos. B. 150,000 pesos but not more than 6 million pesos. C. 200,000 but not more than 6 million pesos. And D. None of the above. And our correct answer is letter A, 100,000 pesos but not more than 5 million pesos. So under RA 9266, upon conviction, be sentenced to a fine of not less than 100,000 but not more than 5 million pesos, or to suffer imprisonment for a period not less than 6 months or not exceeding 6 years, or both the fine and imprisonment at the discretion of the court. 27. What would you do if you found out that your client has reproduced your drawings and used for another project? A. Ask for a pay. B. File a case at PRC. C. File a case in court. And D. Forgive and forget. And our correct answer is letter C, file a case in court. So if a client reproduces or uses your drawings without your consent, it is considered a violation of your copyright and professional rights. The proper legal remedy is to file a case in court for infringement or unauthorized use of architectural plans. Option A, ask for pay, may not provide a legal remedy. So under Section 33, ownership of land, specifications, and other contract documents, drawings and specifications and other contract documents duly signed, stamped, or sealed as instruments of service are the intellectual property and documents of the architect, whether the object for which they are made is executed or not. It shall be unlawful for any person to duplicate or to make copies of said documents for use in the repetition of and for other projects or buildings, whether executed partly or in whole, without the written consent of architect or author of said documents. Number 28. As government architect of record, he shall collect from the concerned national or local agency, including government-owned and controlled corporations, GOCCs, an incentive pay to cover civil liabilities in the equivalent amount of blank. A. 1.5% of PCC. B. 10% of PCC. C. 50% of monthly salary. And D. 5% of project construction costs or PCC. And our correct answer is letter A, 1.5% of the project construction cost or PCC. So under RA 9266, the government architect of record shall collect from the concerned national or local agency, including GOCCs, an incentive pay to cover civil liabilities in the equivalent amount of 1.5% of the project cost of every project, provided it shall not exceed 50% of his annual salary, which shall be paid upon full completion of the project. So, kung alin sa dalawa ang mas maliit, no? Yung 1.5% or yung 50% ng annual salary. The amount intended for the architect who prepared and signed the drawings and specifications shall be included in the program of work. So number 29. If the construction was put on hold for 1 year because your client could not provide funding, when is the right time to issue your billing statement for the contract documents? A. Upon submission of the contract documents. B. Upon completion of the project. And C. Upon receiving the building permit. And D. None of the above. And our correct answer is letter A, upon submission of the contract documents. So upon the completion of the contract document phase, so under the contract document phase as stipulated in the service agreement, but not more than 15 days after submission of the documents to the owner shall pay the architect a sum equal to 50% of the professional fee or a sum sufficient to increase the total payments on the fee to 90% of the professional fee. So this is the accumulated amount. The professional fee shall be computed based on the statement of probable project construction costs that shall be part of the documents to be submitted at this particular stage. And lastly, architectural practice is one of the most stressful professions, with many architects working long hours and often going unappreciated. If a project deadline falls on a Sunday, what would you do? A. Stay home since it's not a working day. B. Deadline is important. You must be there on Sunday. And C. Finish on Friday. And D. Ask the principal to move the deadline. And our correct answer is letter B. Deadline is important. You must be there on Sunday. So option B, deadline is important. You must be there on Sunday, acknowledges the reality of architectural practice. Deadlines take precedence, and sometimes you must work beyond regular hours, including weekends, to deliver quality work on time. Option C, finish on Friday, assumes you can complete all work ahead of the actual deadline, which may not always be possible. If the work is not actually completed by Friday, claiming to finish on Friday is unrealistic and could jeopardize the project. In architecture, meeting deadlines is non-negotiable. Finishing on Friday is ideal but cannot always be guaranteed. So showing commitment to work until the actual deadline is the professional approach. And that's it for our quiz. Congratulations for completing the quiz. Now, count your total correct answers and determine your score category. If your rating is 15 or less, it is time for a more strategic review.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.
Enroll at Atlas CDC Review for a comprehensive prep for the Architecture Board exams. Message us now.